Before the Ballon d'Ors, before the Champions League nights, before millions shouted "Sue," there was a 12-year-old boy who wanted to go home. If he had, the world might never have known the name Cristiano Ronaldo, because before Ronaldo became a legend, he was just a homesick kid, standing alone in a city that did not feel like home. Every night he missed his family. Every morning he asked himself the same question: was leaving home a mistake? Most children would have gone back. Ronaldo did not. That one decision changed his life, and years later, it changed football forever. This is not the story of the goals you have already seen. This is the story of the moments that created them. Madeira did not look like the place where football legends were born. It looked like paradise. An island surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean, bright blue skies, steep mountains, narrow streets where every child knew your name. For Ronaldo, it was home. His mother, his father, his brother and sisters, a football at his feet, and a dream that felt impossible. Then one phone call changed everything. Sporting Clube de Portugal wanted a skinny 12-year-old from Madeira, not for a visit, not for a tournament. They wanted him to leave home and move nearly 1,000 kilometers away to Lisbon, alone. For most families, the answer would have been easy. He was too young, too small, too far away. But dreams have a price, and sometimes that price is saying goodbye. So a little boy packed everything he owned into one suitcase. He hugged his family. He walked toward the airport and left the only home he had ever known. The flight to Lisbon lasted only a few hours. The loneliness lasted much longer. Everything was different. The people, the food, the streets, even the way people spoke. Ronaldo's Madeiran accent sounded different. Some of the other boys laughed when he spoke. Every joke carried the same message: you do not belong here. When the lights went out each night, the fearless footballer disappeared. A frightened 12-year-old remained. He missed his mother. He missed hearing his family's voices. Some nights, he cried himself to sleep. No cameras, no headlines, no applause. Just a child wondering whether chasing a dream was worth losing everything familiar. Many young talents do not fail because they lack ability. They fail because loneliness becomes stronger than the dream. Ronaldo stood at that same crossroads. He could have gone back to Madeira. No one would have blamed him. He was only 12 years old. Instead, he made the first great decision of his life. He stayed. The homesickness did not disappear. He simply refused to let it decide his future. Every lonely night became another reason to train harder. Every insult became another reason to improve. Every tear became another step toward the player he wanted to become. Without realizing it, the boy who desperately wanted to go home was quietly building the mentality that would one day inspire millions. But surviving loneliness was only the beginning. Very soon, Ronaldo would discover that talent alone was never going to be enough. The sporting academy was full of talented boys. Every one of them dreamed of becoming the next great footballer. Only one trained as if failure was chasing him. That was Ronaldo. When the whistle ended training, his work was not finished. While others rested, he stayed. One more sprint, one more dribble, one more finish. Again, again, again. The coaches noticed something different. Ronaldo was not trying to be better than everyone else. He was trying to be better than the player he had been yesterday. If he scored 10 goals in training, tomorrow had to be 11. If he mastered one skill, he immediately searched for another. Good was never enough. There was always another level. The extra hours slowly changed everything. His feet became quicker. His body became stronger. His confidence became impossible to ignore. But there was one opponent he still could not control: his own emotions. At 14 years old, a classroom argument changed everything. After feeling disrespected by a teacher, Ronaldo threw a chair across the room. The decision came quickly. He was expelled from school. For most teenagers, that would have been the end of the dream. For Ronaldo, it became a promise. If football was all he had left, then football would receive everything he had. There would be no backup plan, no second career, no safety net. Only one road, and there was no turning back. Then came something even more frightening. Doctors discovered that his heart was beating faster than it should, a heart problem. For a young footballer, those words sounded like the end. Before he had even reached the biggest stage, he faced the possibility of losing it forever. Ronaldo underwent surgery. The operation was successful. Only days later, he was back on the training ground, running, competing, smiling, as though nothing had happened. Most people become more careful after life gives them a warning. Ronaldo became more determined. Every setback only strengthened his belief that every single day mattered. The homesick boy from Madeira was gone. In his place stood someone obsessed with becoming the best. Soon, that obsession would be witnessed by the biggest club in England. And one unforgettable night, a teenage Ronaldo would leave some of the greatest players in the world asking the same question. Who is this kid? It was only a preseason match, at least. That was what everyone believed. On the 6th of August 2003, Sporting Clube de Portugal welcomed Manchester United to the opening of their new stadium. For the English Giants, it was another stop before the real season began. For Ronaldo, it was 90 minutes that could change his life forever. He was only 18, standing across from some of the best players in Europe. There was no fear on his face, only hunger. The referee blew the whistle, and within minutes, Manchester United realized they had a problem. Every time Ronaldo touched the ball, something happened. He attacked defenders without hesitation, one step over, then another, a burst of acceleration, a sudden change of direction. Experienced defenders who had faced the Premier League's finest could not keep up. They kicked him, pulled his shirt, tried to stop him. Nothing worked. The crowd could feel it. Every touch created anticipation. Every run brought another roar. Sporting won 3-1, but the score was not the story. The story was the teenager wearing green and white. Inside the Manchester United dressing room, the conversation was no longer about the defeat. One player spoke, then another. Soon almost everyone was saying the same thing. We have to sign him. It was rare. Elite professionals almost never told their club to buy an opponent after a single match. That night, they did. Their message reached the ears of Sir Alex Ferguson. He had seen enough. Waiting another year was too dangerous. Another club would take him. Within days, Manchester United acted. The transfer was completed before the rest of Europe truly understood what they had just witnessed. One extraordinary performance had changed the course of his career. But walking into Old Trafford brought a new problem, a much bigger one. Ronaldo was about to wear a shirt that carried more pressure than he had ever imagined, and the number on his back would become both his greatest privilege and his heaviest burden. When Ronaldo arrived at Old Trafford, he expected to be just another young player, someone who could learn, make mistakes, grow without pressure. Sir Alex Ferguson had a different plan. He handed Ronaldo the number 7 shirt. At first, Ronaldo could hardly believe it. That number was not just a number, it was history. It had belonged to some of Manchester United's greatest legends. Now, it belonged to an 18-year-old from Madeira. The expectations were impossible. Every trick was judged. Every mistake was criticized. Every missed pass became another headline. Some people called him selfish. Others said he spent too much time showing off. The stepovers were beautiful, but many believed they achieved nothing. For the first time since leaving Madeira, people began to question whether Ronaldo was truly special. It would have been easy to change, to play safe, to stop taking risks. Instead, Ronaldo did the opposite. He worked even harder. After training, he stayed behind, perfecting free kicks, improving his weaker foot, building strength in the gym, studying every weakness in his game. He was no longer training to impress people. He was training to remove every excuse they could use against him. Slowly, the criticism became quieter. The goals became more frequent. The assists followed. The trophies started to arrive. The skinny teenager who entertained crowds was becoming a complete footballer. Then, everything changed again. In 2008, Ronaldo stood on top of Europe. He helped Manchester United win the Premier League. He helped them conquer the Champions League. And for the first time, he lifted the Ballon d'Or. The boy who once cried himself to sleep in Lisbon had become the best footballer on the planet. Most players would have been satisfied. Ronaldo was not, because somewhere else, a giant dressed in white was waiting. And the next chapter of his story would create the greatest rivalry football has ever seen. By 2009, Ronaldo had won almost everything a player could dream of. The Premier League, the Champions League, the Ballon d'Or. For many, that would have been enough. For Ronaldo, it felt like the beginning. He arrived at Real Madrid for a world record transfer fee. More than 80,000 supporters filled the stadium just to watch him walk onto the pitch. They did not expect a great player. They expected a savior. Every match carried impossible expectations. Every missed chance became front-page news. Every victory demanded another. Then, football found its greatest rivalry. On the other side stood Lionel Messi. Not someone who wanted to be famous, someone who simply refused to lose. For more than a decade, football stopped asking who was good enough. It began asking one question: who was greater? Every weekend, one produced magic, the other answered. One broke a record, the other broke another. Their rivalry pushed football into a level the sport had never seen before. People argued endlessly: Messi or Ronaldo? Technique or power? Natural genius or relentless work? But while the world debated, Ronaldo kept training. The cameras captured the goals. They rarely captured the mornings, the recovery sessions, the strict diet, the hours in the gym, the extra finishing drills after everyone else had gone home. Success had not changed his habits. It had only raised his standards. Then came the nights that defined a generation. Champions League knockout matches, impossible comebacks, moments when entire stadiums held their breath. The bigger the occasion became, the calmer Ronaldo looked. Pressure did not frighten him, it revealed him. Season after season, the trophies returned. Another Champions League, then another, then another. History was no longer something he admired. It was something he was writing. But time never loses. The explosive teenager who terrified defenders was getting older. His speed slowly faded. His body changed. For the first time, the game demanded that he change with it. Many legends disappear when their greatest strength disappears. Ronaldo made another choice. He reinvented himself. The dazzling winger became a ruthless goal scorer. Less running, better movement, sharper finishing. Every adaptation extended a career that many believed should already be slowing down. Just when the world thought it had figured Ronaldo out, they were wrong. His greatest weapon had never been pace. It had never been strength. It was the decision he made every single morning to become better than he was yesterday. And that mindset would face its greatest test yet. Before we witness the hardest chapter of Ronaldo's journey, I want to ask you something. What do you think truly made Ronaldo great? His talent or the mentality that refused to surrender? Tell me your answer in the comments, because the next chapter might change your mind. People remember the trophies, they remember the goals, they remember the celebrations, but very few remember what happened when the lights went out. For years, Ronaldo carried a dream that belonged to an entire nation. Portugal had produced brilliant footballers before, but never a player who could carry the hopes of millions every time he stepped onto the pitch. Every international tournament became the same story. The expectations grew, so did the criticism. If Portugal won, it was expected. If they lost, the blame always found Ronaldo. Then came the summer of 2016, the UEFA European Championship. Portugal reached the final against France. 90 minutes away from history. 90 minutes away from the one trophy that could silence every doubt. But football can be cruel. Only 25 minutes into the match, Ronaldo collapsed. A challenge damaged his knee. He tried to continue. He could not. Tears filled his eyes as he realized the truth. His dream of leading Portugal to victory on the pitch was over. As he walked off the pitch, the dream that had taken decades to build seemed to disappear with him. Millions watched their captain cry. For a moment, it felt like football had written another tragic ending. But something unexpected happened. Instead of sitting quietly on the bench, Ronaldo stood. He shouted, he encouraged. He celebrated every tackle, every interception, every attack. He became another coach on the touchline. His body could no longer help Portugal. His voice still could. Then, extra time. One chance, one strike. Portugal scored. The final whistle followed. For the first time in history, Portugal were champions of Europe. Ronaldo fell to the ground, not because he was exhausted, because the dream that had survived loneliness, sacrifice, criticism, pressure, and heartbreak had finally come true. That night was never just about lifting a trophy. It proved something much bigger. Greatness is not measured by the moments when everything goes your way. It is revealed by what you do when everything falls apart. That lesson had followed Ronaldo since he was 12 years old. From Madeira to Lisbon to Manchester to Madrid to the top of world football. Every chapter pointed to the same truth. The greatest victory of his career was never over an opponent. It was over the voice that once whispered, "Go home." But this story is still not complete. Because the greatest thing Ronaldo built was never a record, never a trophy, and never a goal. It is something that cannot be measured, and it is the reason his story will outlive his career. One day, every footballer plays the final match of his career. The stadium becomes quiet. The boots are put away. The trophies gather dust. Even records are broken. That day will come for Ronaldo too, because no player defeats time forever. But some players defeat something much greater. They defeat the idea that ordinary limits cannot be challenged. When Ronaldo left Madeira at 12 years old, nobody saw a future legend. They saw a homesick boy. When he arrived in England, many saw a showman. When he reached Spain, some believed his success had already peaked. Every new chapter came with a new reason to doubt him. Every single time, he answered with action, not words. That is why millions of young footballers still copy his celebrations, his training, his discipline, his mentality. Not because they all believe they can become Ronaldo, but because he made them believe they could become a better version of themselves. That is a legacy. It cannot be counted, it cannot be measured, and it cannot be erased. Years from now, children who never watched Ronaldo play live will still know his name. Not because someone told them how many goals he scored, but because football will keep telling his story. The story of a boy who almost went home, a teenager who refused to quit, a young man who carried impossible expectations, and a legend who proved that talent may open the first door, but mentality decides how far you walk. Football almost lost Ronaldo. Instead, it found one of the greatest players it has ever known. And maybe that was never the real victory. Maybe the real victory was that one frightened 12-year-old boy chose to stay. Maybe that is why this story still matters. Because somewhere, right now, another 12-year-old is wondering whether to give up. Maybe he thinks he is too small, too poor, too far behind. Maybe someone believes the dream is impossible. Ronaldo once stood in that same place. The difference was not that he never felt afraid. The difference was he kept walking anyway. That one decision changed his life, and it changed football forever. If you love football stories that deserve to be remembered, welcome to Goal Rush. Subscribe to Goal Rush because the next story might change the way you see football too. Now tell me in the comments, which moment do you believe truly made Ronaldo become the player the world will never forget?